So the mock 20 verbal ability paper, that's what we're going to be discussing right now. Now, obviously this mock was very, very easy. The passages, all in all, I think the first three passages, passage 1, passage 2, and passage 3 were easy passages, whereas passage 4 was easy to moderate in range. Amongst the verbal ability questions, the first question, second question, third one were easy. Fourth one was moderate. The fifth, sixth questions were again easy to moderate. Seventh question was kind of very easy. And the eighth question was also kind of moderate only. It was not very hard. I think the eighth one was a para jumble. So this is how the paper went. Now this is one of the papers that with your preparation you should be easily scoring somewhere around 14 plus 6. Just give me one moment. 14 plus 5. Yeah, somewhere around 19 to 20 questions correct with an attempt of 24, because in this paper the passages were not very tough to read. You could have very easily gone through the passages in 6 minutes as planned. So yes, we can attempt somewhere around 22 questions, and 18 could be easily put right in this paper. Right, so if we move forward to the first, this is the first passage. Yeah. So this is the first passage where we are talking about, juvenile delinquency and how there are enough laws for us to actually punish the adults, but there are not similar laws for children, as we do not know how to exactly go about their punishment. And it also talks about where we can see juvenile delinquency, beginning up right from the childhood, and how teenagers rebelling is also a sign of juvenile delinquency. Although we do not go into details about what is to be done, we certainly are making a point as to what kind of parenting styles bring out these kind of changes, right? So the causes are also explained in the large part of the paragraph. Now the first question is, which one of the following statements is true according to the passage? Now if you look at this particular question, you can realize that the part of D, yes, just give me one moment. Where is this? Yes. Yeah, can you see my mouse? So this part, the D part, can be easily seen from here in this particular, paragraph, where we see that it becomes more clear that in order to prevent or decrease juvenile delinquency, it's not enough to encourage parents, right? So this part about not being enough to encourage parents becomes of paramount importance, because here this makes it D an opposite answer. Yes, whereas if you look at B and you look at C, you have the primary cause and invariably and, which both of them make it an extreme answer. So we're going to be eliminating B, C, and D. A comes from the first part of the paragraph, this part of the paragraph, right? So our answer will be A. How do I shift? Just give me one moment. Yeah. Okay. This is a little weird. Please just give me one moment. I'm trying to figure out how to get this in check. Yes, okay. Yeah, all drawings have been cleared. Now I think I can move forward with the old question. Is the screen working? No. Just give me one moment. Let me try to get the screen to work. All right. So let's move to the next question. The second question is, according to the passage, which of the following can parents do to prevent their kids from becoming juvenile delinquents? Now, again, over here, the answer is very, very evident from the highlighted text. You see, it becomes clear that in order to prevent or decrease juvenile delinquency, it's not enough for parents to just simply establish stricter control, but they have to also do that by shifting responsibility from the whole society. So what parents can do, this part is the most important one, is try to keep their children away from dangerous substances, right? Which is what is written in A option as well. So we'll be considering A to be our correct answer. Yes, the third question is, which of the following statements about the crimes is asserted by the author in the passage, right? Now, this part of the question comes from the first paragraph, where we are talking about how crimes are and how criminals are detained, punished, and what should we do with juvenile delinquents, right? So we can clearly see from the highlighted portion that although here in this line, so criminals were detained, isolated, and punished with varying severity, but it did not help eliminate or prevent crime, right? So punishments do not help in eliminating or preventing crime should be the option that we should infer. Now, the last question in this passage is, which of the following statements can be inferred from the passage? Now, the statement A says, if the environment is not suitable for children, they may grow up with a lack of strong moral guidance, which is exactly mentioned over here. That the most obvious and widely discussed factor leading to juvenile delinquency is surroundings. That means the environment in which children grow up, right? And if the environment is not suitable, which is exactly what we are taking, okay, if the environment is not suitable, not contributing to a child's moral or intellectual development, he or she may grow up with a lack of strong moral guidance. So that's the statement that we can definitely infer from this particular passage. Yes. Now, when we go to the second passage, it talks about, how technology has become ubiquitous with our use now, and how we as, adults are letting children also use it every now and then. So much so that technology has become a part of every child's life. Yes, and it's bringing, so although it's bringing a lot of, although it's bringing some positives, there are a lot of negatives too to this entire story, wherein children are losing their critical thinking abilities, their attention is going down, their ability to learn new concepts is going down, so on and so forth, right? So over here, the question is, which are the following about learning new concepts is asserted in the passage? So basically, this is also going to be a main idea question. Yes. Now, the part which we'll have to look at, obviously, C and D are answers that we can eliminate very easily because they're kind of partial scope. But if you're looking at B, right, kids exposed to multiple stimuli provided throughout technology are unable to process new concepts. One might fall for this option very easily. But if you look at it, if you look at the green text that's over here, since technology is full of stimuli and often requires paying attention to many different things, children who play video games and all most of the time have less of an ability to focus. Okay. They've never actually mentioned about not being able to process information. That's actually given the next part of it, right? And why are they not able to process information? That's the effect. The cause is that they're less thinking critically. So that is the thing that you should be asserting. Okay. So A becomes your answer. Now, the second question is, which one of the following statements is true according to the information provided in the passage? Now, over here, if you look at the statement provided in the green text in the passage, although technology does provide many benefits for learning, it can have several negative, effects on child development and quality of life, right? Now, that part is highlighted. 1 minute, just 1 minute. Yes. First of all, if you're going with A option, about adults, it's not specified anywhere, right? So that becomes an out of scope choice that we are taking. Now, if you're looking at B, technology has a devastating impact on children and their ability to learn and socialize. That can also be seen over here. Just give me one moment. So, okay. Yes. So you'll have to look at the last but fourth line in the second paragraph. Okay, this isn't to say that all technology is bad or that children should never use technology. If your kids are eager to participate and all that, yes, or socialize with friends in real life, insta online, you should encourage it. Okay, this is again linked to a part which is, where is it exactly? Just give me one moment. It's again linked with, it has now become common knowledge that high levels of social media use in both kids and adults can lower self-esteem and create negative moods. However, all types of technology can equally have negative effects on the children when used in excess, because they lower the child's frequency of interacting with their peers. Okay. So now when we are looking at these two things, we cannot establish that they are not learning how to socialize. Okay. So this impact, the devastating part, is something that we cannot take to be completely true. He's mentioned that there are some positives too. Yes. And here, learning facilitated through technology is shallow and temporary and gives no result. Again, we cannot say that that's true, because there is some positive benefits of learning, right? Yes. So we cannot say that this part is also true. So A, B, and C we can negate. D, technology is the reason behind sedentary lifestyles, is now something that we can directly see in the where is it in the passage? Just give me one moment. So just two sentences below the green highlighted text. This is because technology such as blah 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 encourage them to be sedentary when they get home from school. Yes. So that is what we can actually consider as our answer. Next question, which of the following statements best captures the essence of the passage? Now, again, over here, if you look at it, judicious use of technology can bring long-term benefit. No one has spoken about long-term benefits. So it's going to be an out-of-scope choice. Judicious use of technology enables learning in a fun way. Now, yes, it has been mentioned in the passage, but again, that's not the main idea of the passage. That does not capture the best essence of the passage. Same, D, when we're talking about adults, it is going a little out of scope. Yes. The one thing is B option, when we see judicious use of technology reduces its negative impact. Yes, he is accepting that there is some negative impact, but if you use it well enough, there could be some positive impact too, which is why we can take B as our answer. The next part states, the author states each of the following about the effects of technology on children, except. Now, if you look at the highlighted text in yellow, you can easily see all the three A, B, and C concepts highlighted over there, except for D, which is why we'll take D as our answer. Yes. Now, the third passage basically talks about how there's a discrimination between, men and women, and how the roles and gender stereotypes that have been reinforced through generations have finally started, breaking due to the pandemic that came and the recession that came. Well, not exactly the pandemic, but the recession that came, because of which most men lost their jobs, and in turn caused the women to be the breadwinners of their house. And then it got normalized to see men doing the chores which usually women were supposed to be doing or were thought of to be doing in the house. Right. So the first question is, according to the author, while employing graduate students, company usually prefer candidates with higher grades because, which directly comes from the highlighted part of the passage, where it tells that this good grades is usually an index of persistence and ability to work, which is what's highlighted in B. So answer would be B. Now, when we are looking at the second question, the author talks about each of the following as a result of recession of the late 2000s, except. Now, if you look at, A, B, and C, all these three are mentioned in the passage as the part of why recession, made men to lose their jobs or females to earn their household income. But look at the green part of the passage specifically. Women constantly face the fact that they are paid less than men. Yes. And in D, he says in the corporate world, women were constantly paid better than men. Turns out to be an opposite answer, which is why that is not what's mentioned in the passage, right? Let's go to the next question. Now, over here, you can very clearly see which one of the following statements can be inferred from the passage. Obviously, A is the main idea. So that can directly be inferred from the passage. Whereas B, C, and D, I've already mentioned the reasons. The root cause of gender stereotyping has neither been good nor bad. That's inconsistent. We have already told that this is not all about gender stereotyping, but that's the start point, right? Women should be tender and emotional, while men should be. This should be part of the problematic thing over here. Okay, were expected to is what's mentioned in the passage. So this is also an inconsistent answer. Now, the third one, it's out of question for societal conceptions to change as they have been prevalent for ages. That's an opposite thing. Because we see that in the passage, the whole concept has changed where men were doing the office chores and women were doing the household chores. It's changed to men doing the household chores and women going to the office and earning the livelihood, right? So it's an opposite idea. So A will be our answer. Yes. So if we look at this particular question, which are following statements best summarizes the main idea of the passage. Now, naturally, the main idea that we are seeing is that, the gender stereotypes are breaking. So we'll have to take a good look at the roles again, which being highlighted in option D. So D is our answer. Yes. So I think this is the last passage wherein we see about, how humanity is so connected to the nature and wilderness, and how the American ideals of preserving nature bring in some kind of a cautionary expo, wherein they are blocking out. Just give me one moment. How do I? Okay, I can't pause it. So how they are blocking out, what are they blocking out? Certain pristine and pure lands, okay, without allowing any human. They're imposing restrictions just to be able to protect or conserve them. But initially, for years and years together, those lands have actually been a part of, humanity, just that humans did not want to destroy those lands before. All right. So now if you're looking at the first question, when Mertens mentions that there's a myth of pristine, what's he trying to imply? Now this becomes a very simple, specific detail or inference-based question. And where do we need to point to? We need to point to the paragraph that's highlighted. Over there, he talks about the myth of pristine, in which untouched forest may be an invention of the Western mind than something found in the real world. Yes, which what's been highlighted in the answer B also. What we have come to regard as pristine is not what's actually pristine in reality, but what we have made to believe as pristine. Okay, or what we were made to be believing as pristine, right? So that will be our correct answer. Now the next part of the question, the next question is, which of the following statements is true regarding the views of Richard Mertens and the authors? Yes. Now, about this particular question, we can see that the answer comes from the highlighted text. Merton goes so far as to argue that many parts of the world, globalization and the policies that go along with it are in fact helping to create forests, right? So basically, Mertens considers globalization to be actually helpful for nature, right? Which is highlighted in option D. So we'll take that as our answer. Next one. Which of the following statements most accurately describes the central idea of the passage? Now, see, B, C are what? Partial scope. Why are the partial scope? Because we're only talking about the indigenous people in one and the Western ideas in one. Okay. And D is inconsistent because nature, when we say that nature is serving these many purposes and yet to be have comprehended by humans, in the passage he's talking about that humans have realized all this, and that we are not separate, we're not distinct from nature, right? So that's also inconsistent. So our right answer should be A. Yes, the next one, this again a very easy question. Which of the following most accurately describes the tone of the author? See, the author has been trying to argue that we are not separate from nature. So he's concerned that the separation of nature from man is evident in the real world. So the right answer will be A. All right. So with this, we've come to the end of the 4 passages. Out of the 4 passages, I think this was the only moderate to difficult passage with somewhere around, like 1 to 2 questions you can go wrong in. But the other passages, they were pretty simple. It was clearly evident in the, passage where you can get the answer from. Now, moving to the para summaries, the first para summary comes out with 2 main ideas. Okay, the rest of it is all sub ideas which have to be embedded into these main ideas. First one is that science is about nature. Okay, yes, we want to learn science so that we can understand nature. And second idea is that science has become so important to human life because of the way it benefits us. Okay, now these are the only 2 main ideas that I get from this particular para summary. The rest of it all is somewhere tied up to the part of these 2 being the examples kind of. Okay, so according to this, the right answer should be C, which is the aim of science is to understand and explain nature, and this understanding has impacted human life tremendously. All right. Yes. Now moving forward, over here, if you see, we are looking at how anthropologists and other non-church people have viewed religion or the conception of religion and Christianity, right? So very clearly, I can say that though 4 has sins, it's not the cause. Okay, so 4 should be my last part. Okay, now amongst 2, 1, and 3 seems like it's very, very, stable and generic. But if you go through it quickly, in Europe, philosophers developed a conception of religion beginning during the anti-clerical 18th century Enlightenment and later elaborated by 19th century anthropologists that was presented as in opposition to secular rationality and progress. Now, here, when we have talked about secular rationality and progress being, something very opposite to what the Enlightenment period Christianity or religion was thought of, we are talking about 2 opposite poles. Yes. So although this seems like a very, very generic statement, this has already been mentioned about in the first statement, where in Western thinking, religious has often been defined as that which is diametrically opposite to secular. Okay. So 1 and 3 are a mandatory pair. So this is actually a moderate to hard para jumble. So it takes you a little bit time to think about why to make this connection. Okay. So 1 and 3 are a mandatory pair. Now we've seen that 4 goes to the ending. So naturally 2 should become the first statement. So the answer should be 2, 1, 3, 4. Now again, in this para summary, I've highlighted the main ideas. There are 2 main ideas over here also. First thing, that hip hop's become an influence worldwide. Okay, and that hip hop has represent African Americans' freedoms and culture in a better light, in a good light. Yes, both of which are easily seen in option B. Yes, where hip hop has gained popularity worldwide and serves as a mouthpiece. Mouthpiece means something that propagates the thing. Okay, for African American freedom and culture. Right. The next question. Oh yes, this is one of the easiest odd man out that you could have gotten. Right. Over here, 4 of these statements are actually talking about solar energy. Like what is solar energy? What's the use of it and all. Only statement 2 is talking about the requirements. Okay, that we need solar collectors or we need this to do storing of this. Yes, the other 4 are talking about where can we use it and how it is. So naturally 2 is going to be your opposite statement. Now, when we are looking at this particular para jumble, this again a little tough to go forward with. But if you look at the 4 sentences very clearly, you can identify that the first sentence is a little generic out of the other 4 because the others have like names and pronouns which make it a little less generic. So in the first one, if you see, in the early individualist thought, the self is viewed as indivisible, singular, and separate from the social and subjectivity. It is thought to pre-exist social relations rather than being constituted by them. Yes, so he's talking about how the early individualist thought is looking at, the self as indivisible. It is singular but separate from all social. Okay, that means you are not a part of the group. You're someone that's alone. That's individual. Okay, so again, this we are talking about in 4, that the presumed natural state of private, which is what the individualist thought he's referring to. Internal self is ascribed onto the external world with the help of understanding that material position is an inherent right. Okay, so 1 and 4 are going to be a pair. Next, if we look here, survival is linked. We've not spoken about survival yet, right? And we've just spoken about the state of private and internal self, which is ascribed onto the rest of the world. Yes. Now, in 2, Hobbes, for instance, proposed that autonomous condition of human experience as state of nature necessitates possessive form of individualism that entails fierce competition over scarce resources, can be linked to 4 when we are talking about scarce resources and fierce competitions as a part of material possessions. Okay, so this is a hard para-jumble. Okay, I wouldn't be shocked if you left this. So over here, we'll come with the answer as 1, 4, 2, and then 3. Now, here in this particular para summary, there's only one main idea, okay, that there's no consensus on which machines to qualify as bot and which machines to actually look at, not as bots. All right, and then they've given examples here, यहाँ पे यार South America में ऐसे देखते हैं, ये robot इसको बोलते हैं. So, फिलहाल a lot of things have been given, but the main idea is very simple over here. Main idea is what's been highlighted. According to that, I think D is the best set of options that we can go. There's a conflict over which set of machines should be termed as robots. Why? Because they have widespread influence. Okay. Yeah. Next. Over here again, this is a very, very simple odd man out question. See, the first 4 statements, if you look at it, they're talking about the Lincoln Memorial. Yeah, some kind of a fact about Lincoln Memorial, how tall it is, how many columns are there, where it was designed, whom it was designed by, and all that. Only the 5th one talks about the image of Lincoln Memorial being on one side of a coin. So it's actually about the US ka $5 bill. So since the subject itself is changed, we can say that the first 4 are together and the 5th one is the odd man out. Yes, now this again is a very, very simple para jumble. Over here, very clearly, the 3rd statement is your most generic statement. Yes, where we are talking about how humanity has transformed itself from hunter-gatherers to an interconnected civilization. Okay, so from being secluded to being a part of the group. Yes, then we go with how, researchers have debated for very long about why such a dramatic metamorphosis or change has occurred. Okay, now that reason is given in 2, but before that, what has happened as a contradiction to this is given in 4. Okay, but perhaps most widely agreed upon theory has been that the rich communication tool we call as human language. That means because of human language, we have started all this. Okay, and then it's coming to 2, that our exchange of knowledge with each other, which is about the human language in turn, right? So 4 and 2 become a mandatory pair, and 1 and 4 become mandatory pair. 3 is generic. So 3, 1, 4, 2 will be the correct answer. All right, I think with that, we can come to the end of this session. Anywhere around 19 to 20 corrects will be an amazing 99 percentile in this paper. If you score somewhere around 15 to 18, I think you would land up somewhere near 93 to, not even 93, you would land up somewhere between 95 to 99. Okay. All right. Have a good day.